there's no turning back. Even while you sleep, we will find you acting at your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own desire. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the room where the light won't find you. Holding hands when the walls come tumbling through. When they do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. Indecision, married with the lack of vision. Everybody wants to rule the room where the light won't find you. Holding hands when the walls come tumbling. When they do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we almost made it. So sad they had to fade it. All for freedom and for pleasure. 'Cause nothing ever lasts forever. 'Cause everybody's all for pleasure. 'Cause nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule. Everybody wants to rule. Rule. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Now hear me while I pray. Take all my guilt away. Pick up my life. Pick up. If this darkness turn to day, without rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world. Rule the world. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He shared the stage with some of the world's greatest musicians, and James Biscuit Rouse is here tonight to give us some of that greatness, playing with his own band, the Buttered Biscuits. This is the B-side, and I'm Kenyatta Beasley. Before we meet the band, Biscuit, can you tell us some more about the song that you just played?
Rule the World.
I was gonna guess that.
Tears of Fears, of course. One of my favorite tunes by them, and one of my favorite groups as well. I like picking songs to sing that are, first of all, easy to play on drums, because that's not easy.
I mean, to play and sing at the
The
same
play
time.
and sing, it's not easy. But songs that have good lyric content and stand for something, even in this day and time we live in now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to rule the world and look at the White House. Ooh, did I say that too loud? Ooh.
Yes, you.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, I
you
said it on purpose.
You did. Can you introduce these fine musicians that you brought with you?
On keys, we have Divine Alyson.
All right, man.
We have a guitar legend among men over here, Mr. Mark Bowers,
Yeah.
the baby of the group. How you want me to say your name? Okay, I'll say it that way. Gabriel Otero.
Okay.
Just put a little no, percussion, Doug Fitch.
So, man, you're a Philly native.
Yes, sir.
Did you grow up? I'm assuming you come from a musical family.
Yes.
So you grew up playing drums. Wait. What was your introduction to the drums?
Church.
And I'm assuming that was your introduction to singing as well.
Yeah.
So did you come from a musical family?
My father played piano. On my father's side, everybody played piano or drums or sang. The majority of them sang, but everybody else played drums and piano.
So it's pretty much expected. James, you were going.
They didn't know what to expect out of me, so they just like do what you going to do. And I would get lost in church, and they couldn't find me, and then they was like, "Oh, he's at the drums. Okay, he's fine." So I would just disappear.
So how old were you when you first approached the drum set?
According to my mother, about 3 or 4 years old.
So out of your family, who was the biggest influence on you?
Out of my family?
Yeah. Well, you said you played. You're from a family full of musicians that all played. So.
Well, I mean, my great-grandfather, because he played jazz viola. He was grumpy, but but I was hip enough to understand when he was playing. Okay, all right, he's kind of cool right now. Right, and other times he's like, I'm getting in trouble, so he's gonna fuss at me. But I'm gonna take it while he's playing. I'll take that cool point.
I mean, so the thing about the church is that I know it's a lot of musicians play more than one instrument. So besides singing and playing drums, I mean, I know your background as a musical director, so you have to be able to kind of give direction. Do you do anything else besides singing and drumming?
I play piano a little bit just to write and figure out everybody's parts. And then I was like, this is your part. Play it. Bless you. Play a little bit of bass. Bless you.
No, so at what point as you're growing up do you find that, you know what, I think I'm going to do this for a living? Or did it ever cross your mind at all?
It did. I was actually in middle school. Evelyn Gray's Ministry was a, Christian school. And the pastor, Bishop Graves, she was a recording artist. So they would have different concerts at the church. And this one time, they had the Winans come. So something happened, and I got called to play drums right before they got on. And I was like, duh, I want to do this. And it was just like, it hit me right there. And my mother, she just went with it. It was like, okay, this is what he's going to do. When it got time to go to high school, what do you want to do? I want to go to Performing Arts High School. Did what I had to do to get there, because I was performing all through middle school and junior high school. Because the Christian schools we went to, they were performance arts based.
Right.
And so I was always doing something in the arts.
Right.
And then in church, of course, my aunt was a choir director, and if there was a tenor solo, I always got it. And she would pinch my ear and be like, all right, get off the drums and sing the song. I was like, what am I doing? And so I was playing for the adult choir and for the combined choir at church and then convocation. So it was just like, all right, this is what he's going to do. Got out of college and was just like, yeah.
So what I want you to do is set up the next song because I want to have a further discussion about you moving on to high school and college because you actually have a pretty unique story about your musical journey. So can you set up the your next song?
Okay, the next song is called Biscuit Street. I watched too much TV as a kid. Let's start there. So especially cartoons. And
wait, but how did you get the name Biscuit, by the way? I'm curious.
It was a joke that stuck during the whole neo-soul movement that was going on in Philly. At the time, I was playing for Bilal. I was playing percussion and singing background for Bilal. And we just happened to be home, and we were doing a show called Blue Funk, and run by John Barber. And I was running the band that night, and it was like, what's the name of the band? I don't care, just having money for the band at the end of the night. That's all I care. So somebody says, give it up for the band, 3 Wings and a Biscuit. My dumb behind is standing on stage while fixing something, not really paying attention. And someone says, who's Biscuit? I just happened to stand up on cue and was like, what did I walk into? Okay, whatever. Somebody saw me on the street, was like, yo, Biscuit. I was like, okay. And it just stuck. That's what I'm saying. It was a joke that stuck. And one of them things.
The Buttered Biscuits and Biscuit Street.
Right. All right, I'm gonna tell you, you probably will recognize this tune. It's something from Sesame Street, put it that way, hence Biscuit Street. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know what? Your upbringing in Philly, because when I think about Philadelphia, I think about it's really like one of the hubs of urban music in regards to the level of musicianship as far as jazz, as far as gospel, as far as R&B, and as far as hip hop. And you actually kind of represent a little bit of everything. Can you tell me like a little more about your upbringing in Philly and how like just being on the scene and playing in all these different venues, how did that affect you growing up?
Of course, you know, I'm a PK kid, so you know, I had restrictions on what I could listen to. So I had to sneak and listen to some things, you know, especially like hip hop. My mom was not having that. She was a pastor, so she's not having that. But jazz, classical, some R&B, depending on the content, was cool. You know, of course, gospel was just clean across the board.
Right.
In high school, especially, that's when I really got introduced to jazz and playing other things.
Where'd you go to high school?
Performing arts. High school.
So that was your that was
Same
your,
as Boys II Men.
your first exposure to jazz was actually there. So
I mean, in junior high school, because my uncle was a jazz drummer, and so, but more so when I got to high school, because I really got to be in the band in high school, and be in the choir as well. So I was a dual major in high school. So, you know, I got to do both things, and we did everything from opera to pop music. Got to be in the Grammy choir.
Oh.
Yeah, on the national, I did international and national. So for Grammy choir, I did the band for state Grammy band, but national for choir. But you know, high school was that real turning point.
Right.
Where because we had to cross everything, because we were actually doing productions, like stage production, like we were doing Broadway.
Right.
So, you know, that was the real turning point.
Right.
As far as clubs,
Right.
of course, you know, we all snuck in the club. You know, and you know, have older.
Did you have your fake mustache at the time?
No, I ain't do that one. No, I had that. No, but yeah, you know, sneaking in clubs, listening to R&B. That's how I really got into R&B. Sneaking into clubs, and well, it's not there. It was a club called Hollywood Palace. That, you know, like, if you were a musician that was touring, you could find them there when they were home playing, doing open mics or just playing whatever, you know. And it was a good studying tool for me, you know. I was often referred to as the young kid amongst the old heads. So like when I was able to, when they actually let me play and they stopped kicking me off the drums, it was like, okay, yeah.
Wait, so after you leave high school, you went on to college to go to
Westminster Choir College.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, total turn, total left turn.
So how did you take that turn to choir college?
My choir director was playing at a church that was affiliated with Westminster Choir College.
Right.
And we would come up there and do special programs sometimes and sing, and he was like, you really should try this. And I could do it because I was the top of my class as far as the choir. I was the choir vice president. I have an addiction.
I didn't know they had presidents and vice presidents.
Yeah, in high school, yeah.
I just learned something new.
Yeah, so, yeah, I was the choir vice president. My sister was the president. Yeah.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
Right.
Nepotism. Yeah. So, yeah, that, and it was a good experience because I actually learned a lot more than I was already in high school, because it helped me develop how to sing and how to teach others how to sing. So it was like, if I'm on an R&B gig, I can watch you and say, all right, right there, do this, you know, or helping the simple thing of breathing, which a lot of people do wrong.
Right.
And they wonder why they're hoarse, you know.
Right.
So how to take care of myself vocally or help the others. So everything was building up for something else.
So do you think that's like a trait that you've actually brought with you? Because as we'll talk about later, you're actually a musical director and have to work with background vocalists and do a lot of coaching, I assume. I mean, I'm assuming that those skills from choir you actually adapted to your musical director gigs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so after this, you went on to Temple University, right?
Yes.
So what did you study there?
Jazz perform. Well, when I transferred from Westminster, I was still under music education.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I want to do education.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just went into jazz performance and music technology.
Mm.
Yeah, which was just learning how to work in the recording studio.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, all appreciable skills that you've
Yeah.
actually, you know,
Yeah.
you use. So I'm assuming that you've actually, you produced 3 records
Mm-hmm.
so far. So I want to talk about those 3 records after you set up this next song,
Okay.
which is going to be.
Okay, give it a chance.
Give
Yeah.
it a chance.
Yeah.
James Rouse and the Buttered Biscuits.
In college too.
I remember as of yesterday, the first glance we took, the smile we made. When you walked into my life, it was by surprise. I nearly cried. We've talked of love as past and dreams of a love that's new. I recall that summer night, we kissed and breathed, and I knew it was you. Just like the sun gets warm and brightens up the day. Let the love that I give you, girl, shine in your eye and warm your heart. Love isn't perfect. Love is like a 9 to 5. When it seems my light is low, I pray your loving arms by my side. Give it a chance, see where it goes. If we don't try, how will we know? Open your heart, give it to love, love, love. Many situations have come and gone, darling, like the seasons, revolve and grow, yearning and yearning, your heart to love you more. You're my heart's desire, darling, you should know. No, I'm not perfect, just a good man who wants to love you right. Let me make you my queen, and you shining night I'll be. Put your hand in mine, and let's take this walk together, facing the dawn as one. Let's exchange hearts and take a give it a chance, see where it goes. If we don't try, how will You're sweet as peaches and cream. You must have stepped right out of my dream. We both deserve each other's love. I'm a very lucky guy, just to have you by my side. So lucky to have you around. I hope that you're the one. If not, you are the prototype. We'll tiptoe to the sun and do things I know you like. I think I'm in love, yeah. I think I'm in love again, yeah. Let's go. Let's go to the movie. Give it a chance, yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause if we don't try, yeah, 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 how will we know? How will we know? Baby, baby, baby. If you just don't try, you gotta give your heart, your mind, your love, your heart, your mind, baby, 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 baby. Just give it a chance. If we don't try, how will we know? Open your heart, give love, love, love. Just open your heart, give it to love, love,
Yeah, man. So give it a chance. That song has special meaning.
Yeah.
How so, sir?
It's a kind of story of my wife and I meeting and a love story blooming to where we are now.
So you actually wrote this for your wife as part of what? Part of a proposal, or just a song to say, hey.
It actually became my wedding song. I sang to her at that wedding. But it just depicts different phases from us meeting taking a chance, both of us coming out of bad relationships and just taking a chance on meeting each other and then trying to, yeah, okay. Yeah, it works.
So that became.
You know how it goes.
I mean, I'm just taking that with you tonight. So, I mean, so that's your wedding song. I mean, I'm assuming you weren't playing drums while you were singing that, right?
Oh, no, not on the wedding day.
So that's from your latest record, right?
Yeah.
And you also have 3 records as leader that you've all produced. And you said that you went to Temple and you became what, recording arts major and.
No, I was a jazz performance major, but the
You did music
recording
tech.
part, the music tech was just like was an elective sub degree, as they called it then.
So did that serve as for your time at Temple? Did it actually serve as some of the foundation for you actually?
To be honest,
you're a pretty adept producer as well. So I'm assuming you've come at with a lot of tools of the trade.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I actually cut a lot of those classes because I wasn't really learning anything. So I cut class and went to a studio that was like 5 blocks from campus. And yeah.
I mean, I'm happy you weren't at one of my classes, dude.
I should go to your class.
Yeah, I'm happy you weren't though. You make my class.
No, but yeah, I was actually an intern at another studio.
Okay.
So I was like, I actually learned more than I was like, I'm paying to. All right, I'm just gonna cut class and just go over here.
So at what point did you find yourself saying, man, I have some production chops that I can actually, I can pull this off?
That's always a chance, because it's always objective to who's listening,
Right.
So I might like something, you might not like it.
Right.
She might like it, you might not. It's all subjective, So I view it as try it, throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, hey, try it again.
So you've also, man, you've also when I first met you, I believe you were actually the musical director for Miss Lauryn Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that experience. Actually, man, tell me how it's common for drummers to become musical directors, but kind of not common in a sense. So how did you land that gig, man?
I got called to do the audition, and first gig was it was a reggae fest in New Zealand and Australia, the Ragamuffin Festival, and from there that was 2010, and up to 2015, where things happened, and it just I became somebody that she could trust to do things between leading the band and guiding, and you've worked with her before, she, and just artists in general, they tend to lean to people that they can trust to do things without having to be over them all the time.
Right.
That's not all artists, but she's one of those artists where if she can trust you, and I just happen to be one of those people,
right.
And I kind of made sure I knew everybody's part,
right.
Because my part, how I played, depended on him playing his part, such and such and such and such, So I made it my business to know each part. And she's a type of person that's always writing. So you gotta be active and always up on the latest gear and software and trying to be daring to try things and not be scared
right.
to break the mold of what status quo. So you have to do it this way.
Right. So your 5 years of working with Lauren, what were some of the lessons that you actually walked away with? Because I'm assuming it had to be a lot.
Oh, it was a lot of lessons. Never conform. Be daring. Always never take no for an answer as the final answer.
Right.
Always play with your heart. Always give your heart. No matter what you're feeling beforehand, when you get there, whether it comes out right, like I sang some jacked up notes a second ago, but the heart and intent behind it is what matters. You've seen her when she's singing. There's been times when she's had no voice.
No voice at all. Right.
And just the intensity and the heart behind it, you feel that. And you be like, oh, I forgot about that note, but I feel the message.
So, I mean, you know what? To be the musical director for a gig like that, you would have to be, you need somebody who's a people person, because
yeah.
Working with Lauren, I remember her actually changing a lot of the songs on the sound check.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was the MD's job of actually having to relate to the band. Okay, well, the way we did it yesterday will be different. I mean, so I'm assuming that you would have to be real flexible.
Well, it was kind of like, I was MD, but there was a collective thing.
Right.
It was like we all worked together. My job was just to make sure everything was just glued together at the final point and just cue people, you know, make sure people were together. All the changes, I mean, like, she gave direction. Sometimes she would give it to us, like, all right, you go create. Like, or she'll give us, I knew she gave us a sample to use, and we had to create a whole song out of it. And it changed the whole song. So, you know, it's, you know, we've had, like you said, those rehearsals the night before, we changed the whole set, and it's a 2 or 3 hour show. Or in sound check, it's changed. And you got to be on it just to remember it and execute, and we did it.
Sound check becomes rehearsal.
Exactly.
I definitely remember those days. So can you set up the next song? What's our next song, Biscuit?
Is from a dear friend and a godmother of my child, Miss Alyson Williams. It's an oldie but goodie. I'm having a blank. My Jesus. Don't ask my neighbor. Yeah.
Hey, oh, ooh, hey, oh. You're wondering if I care about you. Don't you know why I should doubt you? Oh, I can see, boy, that you don't know me very well. Oh no, you're so unsure, and you run here and there to ask my feelings. Friends only guess, they can't say really, no, no, no. Don't ask my neighbor, hey, hey. Never ask the friends I hang around, oh no. Don't be afraid to come to me. Don't ask my neighbor who you see, come to me, don't be afraid. You ask all my friends if I'm the same girl. You don't understand. You think I'm changing. Whoa, don't ask my neighbors. Never ask the friends I hang around. Don't be afraid to come to me. You'll find I love you. Ooh, come to me. Don't be afraid of what you see. You'll find I love you. Come to me. Come on, don't be afraid. Don't ask my neighbor. Don't ask my friends. Don't ask my neighbor. They can't really say. Don't ask my neighbor. Don't be afraid. Don't ask my friends. They can't really say. Ooh, la 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 la, la 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 la. no, no, yeah. Don't ask my neighbor. I'm standing right here. I'll tell you everything you need to know. Just don't ask my neighbor. Don't ask my neighbor. No, don't ask my neighbor. Don't be afraid to come to me. I'll give you what you need. Ooh, don't ask my neighbor. Don't ask my neighbor. Don't ask my neighbor. Don't ask my neighbor.
Alyson Williams. Wow.
Wow.
And so you know what? I'm sitting here in my notes, and I've known you for a while. You've got to work with a lot of people, and sometimes when you know somebody on like a regular, everyday level, where you might chop it up with them, you forget that you've worked with Lauren and Nile Rodgers and all these people. But to go from being a musical director and being drummer to the stars, I'll anoint you drummer to the stars. I believe it. There is hope. Now that you're leading your own band, what's the biggest difference between, being musical director and working for all these famous artists, and now, you know what, I'm the leader, I'm responsible, and I'm doing my own thing now?
Everything's really on me. It's really on me.
Right.
And it's almost starting over again, a career over again.
Mm-hmm.
Because, people see you playing on stage with these well-named and known artists.
Right.
Half the time they don't know who we are, unless the camera is on us, we do a solo or something, or we get an interview.
Yeah, and it's your 5 seconds at that point. Right.
Short 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then back to the headliner.
Back to you, Bob.
Exactly.
And then it's so it's like, it's literally like starting over again. And I have moments I'm like, what am I doing? Okay, and then, and then you have people that encourage you and remind you. And it seems like every time I have those moments, I get a phone call or run into somebody like, keep it up. You're doing good. I listen to a song,
I mean, as a leader, when everything is your responsibility, do you yearn for the days of just being a sideman, or are you devoted to say, you know what, I need to be my own man at this point?
I mean,
because you can do both of it.
yeah, I know me. I'm going to do both, because I like playing all kinds of music. And as you can see, I go through different spans of music. Right. And my own music, whether I'm writing it or covering somebody else's music. But I enjoy playing with other people. It helps me to continue to grow, and I think, I don't think I'll ever stop playing for other people or with other people, It's growth,
Right.
and it's a conversation.
Right. So all of these different musical experiences that you've had, I mean, you're on record number 3, Biscuit Street. Do you find yourself are you going for one sound? Or are you saying, you know what, I just kind of like this song, this kind of vibe, this will be part of the record? Or,
like growing up in Philly, the radio station, it went from here to there, and it's like, I never stayed in one genre of music. It's like, I can find appreciation in a Mozart or a Bach piece, and then I can go do a gospel piece, then go to a jazz piece, then go to a rock piece, and so on and so forth. And there's beauty in all. And coming up, you be like, just to try to be cool, I'm like, But now it's like, no. You listen to Bach, and listen to some of the things that are going on in jazz music now. It's relative. There's a lot of similarities. A lot of people are listening to that stuff then, and it was being created then, but it wasn't, Bach was kind of like taboo almost, so,
Yeah. So, but tell me a little more about Biscuit Street.
Biscuit Street, okay. What do you want to know?
The record.
Okay.
I mean, in your viewpoint, how would you describe the record? And you were trying to convince me to buy the record. Hey, Kenyatta, take your hard-earned dollar and buy my record. I mean, you know.
To be honest, I wrote half of that record on a tour bus.
Okay.
Through Europe and through the States, and it was like, it was different experiences that I was going through, and it's just like it all came out in the music. Like Biscuit Street, example. The keyboard player in Lauren's band at the time, because it was on her tour, he liked watching cartoons. So, and now Sesame Street has, as we know, has some of the greatest music. And like even today, it's like, wow. So it's like the pinball song, I did more in-depth research on it, and I was like, oh, it is actually a full piece, and it's just like, yeah, that's a real
2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on. Yeah, exactly. And it's catchy, see? Everybody else is doing it.
No, because we had a long discussion about that song one day, and it's like it's a real interesting piece of music.
Actually, you did. You did have that. You and Tane had that conversation. Yeah.
It's a real interesting piece of music. So, man, so Biscuit Street is basically a wide reflection of who you are.
All my music is, you know, I don't like to be pinned into one box. You know, I like to play all kinds of music, and it comes across.
Cool. Can you set up your next song, man?
The next song is called In Between Times. Now, this is a new song that I'm putting out soon.
Okay.
I was listening to Coldplay,
Ah.
and I was like, okay. All right, let's try it. And here we go.
Here it is.
Yeah. So it'll be coming out sometime this year.
All right.
All right. One, two,
just an ordinary day. When blue skies have turned all gray, to find your love has turned away. Now there's a void and empty space. When life's got you crazy and feelings get shaky, and lovers say no, baby. Between times when life's got you crazy and feelings get shaky, oh, oh, oh. With life's ups and downs, sometimes it's hard to wear a smile. But just to know your love is there, to love and live this heavy heart you bear. In between times when life's got you crazy, feelings get shaky, and lovers say no, baby. Between times when life's got you crazy, feelings get shaky. Hey, hey, between times got you crazy, and feelings get shaky, and lovers say no, baby. Between times when life's got you crazy, and feelings get shaky. Oh, oh. When you say you need me, I will be there. When I say I need you, will you be there? When I say I love you, do you still care? Even if you leave me, my love is still there. When life got you crazy and feelings get shaky, and lovers say no, baby. Springtime when life got you crazy.
Yeah, man. Thank you, James Biscuit Route and the Buttered Biscuits, for sharing your astral rhythms. Be sure to pick up his latest album, Biscuit Street, which can be found wherever you buy or stream music. You can also keep up with Biscuit on Instagram at Biscuit Rouse. I'm Kenyatta Beasley, and I hope that you enjoyed yourself tonight. Be sure to stop by our BRIC House studio every Thursday to hear more of the best music that Brooklyn has to offer. You can also check out tonight's installments and past episodes anytime at youtube.com/BRICTV, or check out our BRIC radio podcasts of this episode wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, James Biscuit Rouse, please take us out with one more song right after this. So much